Welcome to the President and CEO Focus on the Middle Market podcast series, where President and CEO founder Paul Stukel discusses middle market issues with business leaders from across the nation. Today, in part one of a three-part series, Paul speaks with Thomas A. Stewart, Executive Director of the National Center for the Middle Market at Ohio State Fisher College of Business, about the center's objectives and the challenges facing middle market executives in today's environment.
I guess maybe to start out with, maybe you could just give us a sense of the the progress as to where the National Center is at and sort of what your ultimate goals are, with respect to what you're doing.
So the National Center for the Middle Market is 2.5 years old. I mean, it's conceptually older than that, but, the ribbon was cut on the door 2.5 years ago. And its mission is sort of twofold. On the one hand, the mission is to increase awareness of middle market companies, who they are, how important they are, what their concerns are, just sort of generally bringing them up in the consciousness of people who think about business, people who write about business, people who make policy affecting business, so on and so forth. So there's this awareness piece. And the other goal is, you might call it an ammunition piece. It is to provide for executives of middle market companies a body of knowledge that will help them be even more effective leaders than they are. So the two missions sort of work hand in glove, or the metaphor I've sometimes used is they're two wings of the single bird, and one of them is to say this is an important group of companies. These are things that they can use that will help them be better at the job that they've done. So as I said, 2.5 years in, I can see an enormous amount of progress. Now, remember, I've been here for 3 months, joined in April, and you can see a tremendous amount of progress, particularly, I would think, the most obvious progress seems to be in the awareness dimension. We publish, as you may know, Paul, a quarterly middle market indicator that sort of is data about performance, revenue growth, employment growth, confidence, and so on and so forth in the middle market. And the middle market indicator, the MMI, gets more and more media citations, more and more downloads, more and more awareness. People are starting to pick that up. There was just created a month and a half ago a congressional caucus on middle market growth, and we now have 12 members of Congress who have joined this, in part because they recognize that the middle market is, as I call it, the unsung heroes of American capitalism, or the unsung heroes of American business. This is that group of a couple of 100,000 companies, revenue between $10 million and $1 billion. It's a pretty wide spread, but that's bigger than small and smaller than big. They're about a third of employment, about a third of GDP, and about 5% of mind share. So this congressional caucus is another step in increasing the mind share. And there are various other things. Mostly it's state levels. We have a fair amount of activity in Ohio, where you sort of expect it because of Ohio State, but also in New York and Texas and California and Florida and other states where there are a lot of middle market companies. We're starting to see a lot of pickup from chambers of commerce, local economic development groups, mayor's offices, governor's offices. So the awareness is starting to come out there. I think in terms of building a body of knowledge for executives, to some extent this is a longer road to hoe. One of the things we do is we fund academic research, which is very long cycle research, and we have at this point given grants to, I think, 25, 26, 27 teams of scholars to write about topics. The first batch of them have come in with academic papers, which of course are limited in their appeal. But from that first bunch of first baker's dozen from the first year's proposals, 3 already have been accepted by top-tier journals, and others are in the process. And so, we're building some foundational knowledge in this sort of an academic area. And I think we're starting also to define and build sort of an understanding of what mid-sized company executives need to become better managers.
Listen tomorrow for part 2 of our discussion with Thomas. Thanks for listening.